I'm Kharqa Begum. Can't specify how and when Anwar and I started talking like friends, and all Anwar ever spoke about is Kabir Khairi, and I never wanted to listen to anything else. Kharqa Begum, it's been years that I've been with Kabir. He was always like this, but it all started to get too much after his mother's death. At least that's how I remember it. Anwar started as early December coldness touched us. As Kabir stayed at his mother's tomb under the Madison Bridge where she wished to be buried, I stood beside him while every other person left the funeral. When I asked him that it was almost evening and we should leave home, Kabir said that he didn't want to go to his home. That's understandable, isn't it? So I took him to my place and he stayed with me there ever since. What about you, Anwar? Who are you? I asked somewhere in the middle of the conversation. I was an orphan. Kabir is my everything. That was an answer enough. So the first few weeks, I helped Kabir sell his home and got his stuff back to my place. We started to live together. There is an unusual way to everything when it comes to Kabir, which is so reasonable and inexplicable at the same time. After a week or so, he started to cry. Crying, I thought, is the self-acknowledgement of the salient sorrow you go through. But on those long nights, he used to wake up after nightmares and just cry, and Lord, he cried. One night, he said that he dreamt of himself being dead. And also, there was another dream where he couldn't save his dying mother. And I spent the whole next day wondering how it feels in a dream to be dead, the very own of you. I, like never or no other human ever, saw how if the act of crying in grief took a physical form, it would look, sound and feel all like Kabir. I guessed with his mother's death, there's also something that died inside of him. His mourning that loss as he dips himself in his own pool of tears. Moonlight after moonlight, like the dead body coffined in him, is rotten to a smell of disgust. Upon his own skin, like he could savagely sense the vultures pecking at the carcass of death inside him. That's also when he started to have a problem with touch. I knew the times when he perceived my hug to be the freedom that allowed him to be vulnerable. But now, I try to hold him, but it's clear from those hard times he tried to allow me for a few seconds that he's not comfortable with anyone touching him anymore. As weeks passed, he got too thin, Begum. You could see the aimless map of the nerves inside him pop over his skin. He isn't eating well. Kabir was never much of an eater. He eats to survive. There isn't any specific food he likes or hates. Put anything in front of him and he just eats right amount to live for one more day, to survive for one more night. But now, he doesn't drink much water or take any nutrient food. I can't force. I don't know how to. I cook. I ask him to eat, and if he says no, I leave. But I come back to ask the same. All those times Anwar endlessly spoke about Kabir, I imagined how he would look. I knew Kabir is a decade younger than Anwar. I mean, I was 2 decades younger than my husband. So I get how things like these in our times work. I heard Kabir is small, brittle, enigmatic and beautiful. But how would a boy who's being loved this immensely by another guy look? How? What's with the hyacinths? I interrupted. That's a story for another time, Begum. Anwar leaves and I pull my shawl tightly onto my bare skin. Coldness, winter coldness.